So, if blasting your case online is a bad idea, what should you do? Let's talk about how to protect yourself legally while telling your story.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, you start with not saying anything until you've talked to somebody that about what your legal problem is and about what your legal remedies are.
Yeah. And I'm trying to look at this from kind of both sides, the lawyer in me, but I'll if you're going through something, especially if it's in the public, and that public may be a small town, and it's a divorce or something, and you're getting, bad press, so to speak, but it's basically bad press at the church or something, and you want to get your story out. And I understand that too, but no matter how you look at it, you're talking about a temporary solution for a long-term problem. If you have a bad public opinion, it's going to take some time to fix that. And like you said earlier, sometimes, like with the fair story, it's too late. But you're talking about your liberty with a criminal case. And so you got to just be quiet and get beat up in the public opinion and protect yourself. Because if you don't, the public's going to think you're great, okay, but you're in prison. So, that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and there's often the case, like you're saying, that we have to talk to clients, especially when you're dealing with the criminal side of anybody that has any type of a public figure or public image or, not local celebrity, but local politician, somebody who's very, astute in the community type thing that has an accusation against them, and they want to speak the truth to everybody and tell their side of the story, and it's very difficult to rein them in and say, no, the truth and us proving you innocent will occur at the trial unless we convince the prosecutor to dismiss the case altogether before that. That's when you will get your truth, that either the case was dismissed because we've convinced the prosecutors of your innocence, or we have, at a jury trial convinced the jury either that you are innocent or that, there's just not enough evidence to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, in this case.
And Sean, I know you probably have heard this speech. It was a professor. I can't remember where he's from, but most people see it in law school or it's taught a lot. But essentially was a situation where the professor was explaining how he had a previous client that told them an alibi that was 100% true and actually made him a suspect. And but he wasn't a suspect. But he was innocent, but it made him a suspect by just talking to him, because he said, like, he told him where, and it had some other things attached to it. But it's a great little TED Talk, I think it was, that they did. But it's same situation. You do that, telling 100% the truth.
Sure.
There are little things in there that are going to get dissected and cut up, and then you also have laid the groundwork for, you can't come back from that. And if you misspoke, you can't come back from it. They're going to play it over and over and over and over and over again.
People have different views on, obviously everybody is different emotionally. So if you were wrongly accused and went out about it on social media,
and I would want to,
you would convey a different message than if I was wrongly accused and went out on social media to tell people about it, than if you did the same thing. So some people can be so emotional and start talking about these things and trying to get, publicity or public favor for them, that everybody in the public says something's wrong.
Right.
I mean, no one
it's too much.
Barks up this tree that much unless they're guilty, or have done what they're accused of, type thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think you make a good point, like, going back to Dank DeMoss and the Lyft lawsuit that's going on, it's no different, right, that she's brought all this attention on herself, and it's had an absolute negative effect where people are questioning, we're questioning whether or not she, set this all up. And so, and so is the internet. I mean, people don't really believe her. It's a very, I think at first maybe people were on her side, but everything you see now is, and that's like wildfire, right? Like, so everybody's like, oh, okay, everybody's kind of against her and taking up for the driver. And that's the narrative, and that's what they're going to follow.
And later on, in my very, I'm former investigator, lots and lots of experience. Mm-hmm. In my minimal efforts, I found the what do you call it? The
smoking gun.
Smoking gun.
Yeah.
She admitted on her Instagram that she identifies as a fit person.
Oh yeah, you have a video.
And a smaller person. We have that video.
That's true.
My body right now is like my mind don't know that I'm this big. My mind does not know that I'm this big. So I be feeling like I can do everything. So when I walk in the gym, I feel like I'm fit.
If I was the defense attorney for poor Abraham in that case, the taxi or the Uber Lyft driver that didn't want her in his car, or the defense attorney for Lyft, that would be one of my first exhibits of, it's just she thinks that she's much smaller than she is. So she was the one mistaken here.
Yeah, but there's a lot of defenses that I think are going to be raised, and that's definitely one of them. It's going to be a interesting. Let me just say this, and I'll get this rant off my chest, and then I'll be done.
This ought to be good.
Yeah, I apologize in advance. This kind of case drives me crazy because I think it gives attorneys a bad name. I think this is a garbage case. I think the attorney that took it knows he's going to lose, and he's on a contingency.
We're talking about the Dank DeBoss case.
Yes, the Dank DeBoss case. And I think the attorney that took it knew and knows he is going to lose. Had no even thought process that he would win. Right? He looked at this case. He knows this is a loser. It's a dumb decision to take. We don't take cases like that because we work on a contingency fee basis, and so does he. Yeah. How he's getting paid is through the publicity of all this nonsense.
Because he also has a podcast, and it's called Cases Gone Wild.
Well,
wonder what that subject matter is going to be coming up in months to come.
Cases Gone Wild may try to shut down Layman's law school, but I think this is a terrible decision as a lawyer to take this case. And it really makes me mad because it adds fuel to the fire of the misconceptions with the McDonald's coffee case that if people don't know about, please do your research on it. It's not what you think, but it gives that tort reform nonsense this fuel. And people think that this is what the law is, and it's not. This is just fluff and nonsense. And somebody who's trying to take advantage of a law that Michigan put in, that it's the only state that has, but I guarantee you Michigan and their lawmakers, this was not the intent of the law.
Absolutely,
this was not at all.
That's why I find it hard to. It's hard to convince me that based on that video that what poor Abraham, the driver, did equates to discrimination in any shape or form. There's also a video of like a press conference of Dank DeBoss's attorney, where he equates it to, it's no different if he didn't want to give the person a lift because they were Christian or because they were black.
I think there's a difference there.
Absolutely. This weight characteristic that is put into Michigan law as a protected class, it's to protect the woman that is highly qualified, goes into an office for a receptionist job that she could do with her eyes closed, and the boss comes in and is like, you're too fat. I want somebody prettier, and skinnier.
That's
type
exactly
thing.
right.
That's what that is there for. It's not for, hey, you ordered
it's math and
a
physics.
small car.
It's math and physics. You can't, if you can't fit, it's not discrimination.
I'd like to see how she makes it work.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Getting into that vehicle and
there is a
fastening her seatbelt.
There is a Reddit AI enactment, if you will. This it's very mean, honestly, but
it's mean. It's not mean if it's true.
But it makes you wonder.
She showed it to me earlier. It's not true.
Okay, if it's accurate, it's not.
No, it's meant for comedy.
Okay,
and it was pretty brutal. Like I said, I deep dived on this, and the internet is not being very nice to her at all. Like a lot of hate.
Sure, I don't mean her any hate or any harm or anything. It's just I question the legitimacy of her
Yeah.
being emotionally harmed or damaged from this interaction with this poor Abraham.
Because
I question
to be
the
honest,
motives,
how she handled it, right?
and I
By
question
posting
how it's a bad action in our legal system. Those are the two things.
Sure.
I don't have any hate to this woman at all, but I don't like when, this is what people get mad about when you talk about frivolous lawsuits. This is, in my mind, is a frivolous lawsuit. And it's done purely, like I said, to gain publicity for the attorney and for the rapper that wants to be a big shot. And so that's what aggravates me legally.
I mean, when we call her, like, she's called a rapper and an influencer, like,
She's not
how
where'd
popular
you see she was called an influencer?
on the internet?
Ugh. The internet.
That's what I mean.
The internet.
I mean, on the interwebs, of course.
Yeah.
If it's on the interwebs, it's got to be true.
It's true. Yeah.
But no, that's what I mean. Is she famous? I don't know her.
She might be famous in Detroit.
Okay, so
But she's
she's not.
She's not like Eminem, Detroit rapper famous. So,
Got one shot.
Sorry, yeah. Well, so many.
Or 489.
Yeah, so many things. Just okay.